Harvey Milk once told Sylvester, "One day, a stranger's words will change your life." Back then, Sylvester had laughed. Until that night in 1982, he hadn't understood what those words meant. The Castro District in those days was the heart of the LGBT movement. Every corner held a story, every club was a meeting place, every night a celebration. When Sylvester was on stage that night, everything seemed normal, the same songs, the same energy, the same enthusiastic crowd. But after the performance, waiting in the dressing room, an envelope would change everything. Inside were a few lines, handwriting hastily scrawled, words trembling, punctuation marks forgotten. And those lines would bring disco's brightest star to his knees and forever change the rest of his life. If you enjoyed this story and want to see more content from our channel, please don't forget to subscribe. Now let's go back to that night, because what happened there would forever change disco history. Sylvester James Jr. was born on September 6, 1947 in Los Angeles. He grew up with gospel music, started singing in the church choir at age 3. Even then, his voice was special, high, clear, angelic. But little Sylvester wasn't like other children. He was gay, and he knew it early. At 13, after hearing a sermon about perversion, he walked out of church and never returned. "God made me this way, Mama," he told his mother. "If this is a sin, then God wronged me." At 15, he started going to gay clubs with fake ID and his mother's dresses. In Los Angeles' underground world, he met people like himself for the first time. For the first time, he was accepted. For the first time, he felt free. And there, in those dark clubs, through that cigarette smoke, Sylvester discovered who he was. Not just a singer, a performance artist, an icon, a revolutionary. In 1970, Sylvester moved to San Francisco. The Castro District wasn't yet the center of the LGBT movement, but winds of change were blowing. He joined a drag performance group called the Cockets, performed on stage, pushed boundaries. In 1972, he formed his own group, Sylvester and his Hot Band. They played in local bars, didn't make money, but had hope. In 1977, the big opportunity came. Fantasy Records offered him a recording deal. Sylvester made one of the most important decisions. He chose Martha Wash and Izora Rhodes as backing vocalists. Two magnificent black women with powerful voices would take Sylvester's music to the next level. When 1978 arrived, Sylvester was ready. He released the Step 2 album with 2 songs that would change everything, You Make Me Feel Mighty Real and Dance Disco Heat. The first time they played on the radio, Sylvester cried in his car. The songs climbed the Billboard charts. Sylvester became a star overnight. But he didn't yet know that fame had a price. 1979 was Sylvester's peak. He got the city key, performed at Opera House. His mother came after 17 years, hugged him backstage. "I'm proud of you, son." But fame had a dark side. Exhaustion, failed relationships, loneliness. His partner Michael Lyons left. Sylvester kept performing, kept smiling. Then came 1982. News from New York: young men dying, a strange disease. The media was silent, but the LGBT community was terrified. Whispers. Fears. Sylvester heard them but didn't know what to do. He just kept singing. And the unrest inside him grew. Last week of July 1982. Sylvester was performing at a small Castro club that night. He got ready, sequin costume, dramatic makeup, wig. One more night, he whispered to his reflection. He arrived at 7. The venue was packed. Backstage, he took deep breaths, preparing himself. Same ritual every night. But tonight felt different. At 8 o'clock, he took the stage. The lights hit, the crowd screamed, the music started. Sylvester picked up his microphone and started singing. The first song was Dance Disco Heat. The dance floor exploded. People were dancing, jumping, singing. Sylvester was moving on stage, giving his energy, giving his all. But in the middle of the song, something happened. Sylvester saw a man in the crowd. The man was staggering, clearly drunk. But there was something on his face. pain, desperation, tears. The man moved towards Sylvester. Security noticed, was about to intervene. But the man was quick. He came to the edge of the stage, pulled a white envelope from his pocket and threw it onto the stage. The envelope fell at Sylvester's feet. The man tried to say something, his lips moved, but no words came out. Tears streamed from his eyes. Then he turned and disappeared into the crowd. Sylvester never forgot that moment. The expression on the man's face, the pain in his eyes, how his hands trembled. But the song continued and Sylvester was a professional. He pushed the envelope aside and continued his performance. Sylvester sang "You Make Me Feel Mighty Real." The crowd went crazy. This was his biggest hit, everyone knew it, everyone loved it. Hundreds of people on the dance floor shouted every word. Lights were spinning, the disco ball was sparkling, the energy was electric. But Sylvester wasn't there, his mind was backstage, next to that envelope. He was holding his microphone but his hands were shaking. He was singing but his voice was automatic. He was smiling but his eyes were empty. Martha Wash and Azora Rhodes sensed something was different. Sylvester was always 100% there on stage, energetic, connected, alive. But tonight he was like a ghost. Sylvester sang 3 more songs, dance, over and over, I Need Somebody to Love Tonight. Each one set the dance floor on fire. But Sylvester was moving mechanically. He was professional, no one noticed. The crowd thought it was a great show. But inside, Sylvester was collapsing. That envelope, that man, those tears, everything was on his mind. Finally, the last song came. Sylvester thanked them, waved, blew kisses. The crowd gave a standing ovation. The lights went out. The curtain closed. And Sylvester rushed backstage. His hands were shaking. His heart was pounding. He was having trouble breathing. He closed the door behind him and was alone. Silence. Only the faint sound of music from far away and the sound of his own breathing. Sylvester collapsed into the chair. He covered his face with his hands. For a few minutes, he just sat, breathed, tried to calm himself. But that man wouldn't leave his mind. That desperate look, those tears, those trembling lips. Sylvester stood up and started taking off his stage outfit. Sequin jacket, glittery pants, platform shoes. He threw them all aside. He took off his wig. He started wiping off his makeup. He looked in the mirror, he saw his real face. Tired, old, broken. He was 35 years old but felt 50. He felt something in his jacket pocket. The envelope. It was still there. He slowly pulled it out. White, plain, with Sylvester written in handwriting. He held the envelope in his hand, turned it, felt it. Inside was just one piece of paper, light, thin. But that paper felt like it carried tons of weight. Sylvester knew when he opened that envelope, something would change. Minutes passed. Sylvester just sat there, holding the envelope, thinking. Outside, the club continued. People were dancing, drinking, laughing. But backstage, in that small dressing room, time seemed to have stopped. Finally, he made a decision. He had to open the envelope. He took a deep breath. He steadied his hands. And slowly began to open the envelope. The envelope opened without resistance. Inside was a single page, written on both sides. The paper was cheap, lined notebook paper. The handwriting trembled, as if the person writing's hand was shaking uncontrollably. The ink had smudged in some places, as if tears had fallen on the paper. Sylvester carefully unfolded the paper. And began to read. Dear Sylvester, my name is Michael. You don't know me but I've known you for years. Sylvester continued reading. His hands began to tremble. I came from the doctor today. They gave me 6 months. Maybe less. They don't even really know the name of this disease. They call it gay cancer. They call it gay plague. But the truth is, I'm dying. And I'm just one person. Sylvester's breath caught. He couldn't stop reading. Hundreds of people in the city are getting sick like this. Young men, people like us. I lost my best friend yesterday. My boyfriend last month. My neighbor 2 months ago. All young. All healthy. All just wanted to live. But now they're all gone. The words began to blur. Sylvester's eyes filled. No one is talking about this, Sylvester. The newspapers aren't writing about it. Television isn't reporting it. The government is silent. It's as if we don't exist. As if our deaths don't matter. As if they don't treat us like we're human. Sylvester put down the paper. He brought his hand to his mouth. Tears began streaming down his cheeks. My family rejected me. My father hung up the phone in my face. My mother cried and said, "You're not my son anymore." My siblings won't come visit me in the hospital. It's as if I'm already dead. Maybe I am dead. Maybe I'm just not buried yet. Sylvester wanted to scream, but no sound came out. He just sat there, trembling, crying, continuing to read. In the hospital, doctors look at me with fear and disgust. Nurses don't want to enter my room. They wear gloves, put on masks, as if I'm a monster. One of them told me, "You deserve this." She said, "God is punishing you." I'm only 32 years old, Sylvester. I just wanted to live. I just wanted to love. Was that the sin? He moved to the second page. The handwriting had gotten even worse. Your music gave me a reason to stay alive. When I hear you make me feel mighty real, for a moment I feel truly powerful. For a moment I forget the disease. For a moment I'm alive. But now even that song isn't enough. Because the truth is, I'm dying. And no one cares. Sylvester sobbed. The paper almost fell from his hand, but he held it tight. He had to keep reading. He had to know. You can speak, Sylvester. You are a voice. People listen to you. You're a star, an icon. You can speak for us. Please, Sylvester, speak for us. Please don't stay silent. Because if you don't speak, who will? If you don't care, who will? The last paragraph was almost unreadable. The words had run together, the ink had smudged too much. I'm using my last strength to write this letter. I came to see you today because maybe tomorrow I won't be able to go. Maybe tomorrow I'll be too sick. Maybe tomorrow I'll be dead. But tonight I saw you. On stage, under the lights, beautiful and powerful. And I thought, there's hope. There's a voice. There's someone who can save us. Please, Sylvester, save us. Please, we love you so much. The letter ended there. No signature. Just Michael written. Nothing else. No date, no address, no phone number. Just a name and a plea. Sylvester finished the letter. The paper fell from his hand and drifted to the floor. Sylvester's hands were shaking, his whole body was shaking. He couldn't breathe. His chest was tight. Tears were flowing from his eyes unstoppably. His legs wouldn't hold. Slowly, very slowly, he sank into the chair. Then slid further down, to the floor, onto his knees. He put his head in his hands. And cried. Not silently. He cried out loud. He sobbed. He moaned. He wanted to scream, but his voice got stuck in his throat. He just cried, cried, cried. Years of accumulated pain, years of suppressed fear, years of ignored reality, everything exploded in that moment. Sylvester cried there, backstage, on the floor, as a broken man. His makeup had run, his face was a mess, his eyes were swollen. But he didn't care. Nothing mattered. Just that letter, those words, that pain. Michael. 32 years old, dying, alone, rejected, hopeless. And he was asking something from Sylvester. Speak. Don't stay silent. Minutes passed. Maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10, maybe more. Sylvester stayed there, on the floor, crying. He didn't notice time passing. He didn't hear the knock on the door. He just cried. The door slowly opened. Sharon Davis stuck her head in. Sylvester? Is everything? Her sentence was cut short. The scene she saw backstage froze her. Sylvester on the floor, collapsed on his knees, his head in his hands, his shoulders shaking, crying. Sharon had never seen anything like this. She had known Sylvester for years. But like this? Never. Sylvester. Sharon ran in and knelt beside him. She touched Sylvester's shoulder. Baby, what happened? Did someone hurt you? No answer came. Sylvester just kept crying. Sharon panicked. Sylvester, talk to me. What happened? Sylvester raised his head. His face was destroyed. His eyes were blood red, his makeup was smeared all over his face, his lips were trembling. He tried to speak but the words wouldn't come out. He just pointed to the letter on the floor, with his trembling finger. Sharon picked up the letter. Is this it? She asked. Sylvester nodded. Sharon opened the paper and started reading. On the first line, her brows furrowed. On the second paragraph, her breath caught. On the third page, her hands started trembling. When she finished the letter, her eyes had filled too. She slowly closed the paper and looked at Sylvester. Two friends sat there, backstage, on the floor, in tears, looking at each other. They didn't say a word. There were no words to say. Sharon finally spoke, her voice hoarse. My God, Sylvester. This man. He's dying, Sylvester whispered. His voice was broken, hoarse, full of pain. And it's not just him, Sharon. Hundreds, thousands are dying. You heard about Patrick. You heard about Tim. You heard about Bobby. They're all going. They're all dying. And we're just dancing. Singing. As if nothing's happening. Sharon handed the letter to Sylvester. What are you going to do? Her voice was trembling. Sylvester held the letter. With both hands, tightly, as if it would disappear if he let go. He didn't answer for a long time. He just sat there, holding the letter, staring into space. Thousands of thoughts were spinning in his mind. Michael's face, that drunk man's tears, the please speak. Patrick Cowley's dead body. Tim's funeral. Bobby's empty chair. Hundreds of lost friends. Thousands of lost lovers. And in the future, how many more? I don't know, he finally said. His voice was a whisper. But I have to do something, Sharon. If I don't, I'll never be able to look at myself in the mirror again. If I don't, Michael's death will be in vain. If I don't, I'll be as dead as they are. Sharon nodded. We'll do whatever it takes, she said. I'm with you. I've always been with you. Sylvester looked at Sharon. There was something new in his eyes, determination. The pain was still there, the tears were still there. But now there was something else. A purpose. A goal. A reason. Thank you, he said. But this won't be easy. You know. The media is ignoring us. The government is silent. People are scared. If I speak, I'll be a target. My career could end. Everyone might leave me. So be it, Sharon said firmly. Some things are more important than a career. Some things are more important than money, fame, success. People are dying, Sylvester. Our people. And they need your voice. Sylvester couldn't sleep that night. He stared at the letter for hours, memorizing every word. He remembered Harvey Milk's words from 1978, one day you'll understand your duty. You'll be scared. But you'll do it. Because you're brave, Sylvester. Harvey was right. Sylvester wasn't just a singer. He was a voice. And Michael needed that voice. Speaking had risks, his career could end, fans could abandon him. But then he read Michael's words again, I'm only 32. I just wanted to live. I just wanted to love. Was that the sin? Sylvester made his decision. If the career goes, it goes. But Michael's memory wouldn't go. Sylvester would speak. The next morning, Sylvester called his manager Tim McKenna. They met at a cafe. Tim saw Sylvester's swollen eyes, pale face, trembling hands. Read this, Sylvester said, pulling out the letter. Tim's expression changed as he read shock, pain, anger. My God, he whispered. This is bad. Hundreds are dying, Sylvester said. And no one is talking. I have to speak. I'll give interviews, raise awareness at concerts, talk about AIDS. That's risky, Tim warned. The record company, the media. I don't care, Sylvester cut him off. People are dying. Our people. Patrick's gone. If I stay silent, I'll hate myself. Your career will suffer. Sylvester's voice hardened. Then let it suffer. I'm not living for myself anymore. I'm living for a community. And they need my voice. Tim took a deep breath. Then he smiled. Okay. I'm with you. Like I always have been. Sylvester kept his word. He gave interviews to LGBT newspapers, distributed AIDS brochures at concerts, educated fans. This is an epidemic and the government is silent. This is murder. In 1983, Patrick Cowley died. At his funeral, Sylvester spoke, Patrick was my friend. He was 32. This disease took him. If the government had cared, he might still be here. But they didn't care because we're considered insignificant. The media noticed, some supported, some attacked. But Sylvester kept speaking. In 1986, on the Joan Rivers show, he revealed his relationship with Rick on live TV. Yes, I'm gay. Yes, I have a boyfriend. Yes, I love him. And no, I'm not ashamed. That moment went down in television history. 1987 was the darkest year. Rick got sick and died in May. At his funeral, Sylvester tried to sing but his voice broke. He just cried. After Rick's death, Sylvester dedicated himself completely to AIDS activism. He donated to organizations, organized benefit concerts, visited hospitals. I'm doing this for Rick. And for Michael. And for Patrick. But he started getting sick too. Fall brought a persistent cough, fever, weight loss. In November, he got his diagnosis, HIV positive, disease progressed. How much time? Sylvester asked. A year. Maybe less. Sylvester took a deep breath. Then I need to use it well. 1988 was Sylvester's last year. But he didn't give up. He kept performing concerts, even though his strength was declining. He kept giving interviews, even though his voice was weakening. He kept fighting, even though his body was collapsing. I'll do everything I can before I die, he told Sharon. Because even if I die, the fight will continue. In the spring, he made another decision. He updated his will. He donated all his music royalties to AIDS aid organizations. All his hit songs, all the income from them would go to the fight against AIDS. His lawyer was surprised. This will be a very large amount, he said. Are you sure? Sylvester smiled. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. On December 16, 1988, Sylvester died at age 41. His funeral was held in San Francisco. Thousands came. The streets were full. People cried, sang his songs, celebrated his life. And they vowed to continue his fight. Today, Sylvester's music royalties still support AIDS organizations. Millions of dollars have been raised. Thousands of lives have been saved. And Michael, that unknown man who wrote that letter one night in 1982, his voice finally reached the world. Through Sylvester. Through courage. Through love. Harvey Milk was right. One day, a stranger's words changed Sylvester's life. And through that change, Sylvester changed the world.